Welcome. In this video we'll look at some of the basic functionality of the software called Graph by Ivan Johansen. Graph allows you to draw multiple functions on the same axes, whether those be standard functions or polar ones. It does particularly well with piecewise defined functions and has many other features. Let's take a look at a quick example. Suppose we wish to add the linear function x plus 4. I simply click this button up here, and in the function equation type in x plus 4. I have the option to choose to plot this function only over a particular domain. For example, the interval from -2 to -1. Simply click here in the From box. I'll type in -2 there, and in the To box I'll type in -1. So this should be a small piece of the linear function y equals x plus 4. You can also set the color and width of the lines drawn and some other properties. Let's click OK. So there's the little tiny piece. Now, we aren't limited to simply drawing one function on our axes. We can put more than one. Let's go back up here, click Insert a New Function again. Maybe this time we want another linear function, but this time it's going to be 4 minus x. So we'll type that in, and again over some other interval, maybe 1 to 2. And click OK. So now we have another little linear piece. Now, we have some additional options when it comes to looking at what happens at the end of each piece. This is particularly useful when drawing piecewise defined functions. Let's look at an example. Let's insert a new function again. This time it'll be a quadratic piece, maybe x squared, and notice we use the caret for the exponentiation, minus 3. And here again I want it over a limited interval, maybe from -2 to 2. Now, if you were creating this as part of a piecewise defined graph, it might be important to know whether or not it ended in an open circle or a closed circle on either side. And we could choose those things here. If you were creating a line and wanted to indicate that it went on well past the scope of your graphing window, you might put an arrow on the end of it. For fun, let's put one of these little open parentheses on our parabola that we're drawing this time. Okay, and we click OK. Right. Lastly, although there are many other features here of this program, let's draw a polar function. So again, go up to Insert a New Function. This time though, check out the function type. Let's change that from a standard function, y equals fx, to a polar function. And maybe we graph sine of theta here. The theta we indicate with a t. And looking at the argument range, let's go from 0 to 2 pi. Notice you can write pi as simply pi. And let's not worry about the endpoints there and simply click OK. Okay, so you can see we're working on developing a little smiling face here. It'd be nice if those blue axes weren't in the way, and maybe this was a little bit bigger. So let's zoom in on this. We can do that by adjusting the axes. You can either click Edit Axes Setting, or you can simply double-click here. Notice there's an X-axis tab and a Y-axis tab. If I want to zoom in a little bit, let's change this to a -5, and the maximum X value I'll consider be a +5. And we can do the same thing for the Y. Change that to a -5 as the minimum Y value we'll see, and a +5 for the maximum one we'll see. And click OK. This makes it much larger. You may have also noticed that there is a legend present here that maybe we don't want to display that. Maybe we're just trying to focus on the picture element. Well, we can get rid of that and the blue axes together by going back to the axis setting. Again, either double-click this or click this button. Go to the Settings tab. Deselect Show Legend. That will remove the box sitting over here. And for axis style, let's just have none. And so we click OK, and voila, we have a happy face. That's a brief introduction to graph. There are many more things this can do, but that should get you started. Have a great one.